Hey guys, once again, thank you for your support. Buffalo, New York Giants, same exact playbook. So this is going to be a master mega scheme that you guys can use when you're playing online. And basically jump into, I'm going to build out about 8 different formations you guys can have access to. A lot of the audibles are going to be stock. I'm not going to make a lot of changes with audibles and stuff like that, but I'm going to provide you guys with multiple ways to attack your opponent, keep them guessing. Also, what this is going to do is it's going to allow you to read the coverages in advance too, and get an idea of what type of defensive coverage your opponent's using based on how I use the doubles alignments to read coverages before the snap. So guys, go ahead and lock in. Let's go ahead and show you how this scheme works. So we're going to be taking a look at the single back doubles formation. In particular, we have the inside zone is one of our audibles. We have the Y post out, which has got a very unique tight end route that's very effective. And then we have the play action comeback. In particular, we're going to swap out the double slants, and I'm going to use this particular play, which is curl flats, as one of our audibles. Now, another formation we're going to use is double off close. You guys have seen, if you've been following some of the content we've been putting out, doubles off close is one of my favorite formations to use. And here's the cool thing about this particular formation: we're going to use everything stock. So we got play action boot, switch play, which is by far my favorite play, and it's the stock audible. Inside zone split, good running play, and then the dragon spacing play is going to be a man beater that we're going to have to sprinkle into this game. Another play we're going to use out of single back formation essentially is going to be the Y trips formation. And we have the following plays. We've got stick, zone, weak, alert, bubble, the 4 verticals, and play action shot. I'm going to swap out this particular play, which is stick. I'm going to swap it out for this play, which is the stretch, alert, X looky. That's going to be a play I'm going to jump into a couple times just as a quick snap play, and then blend in 4 verticals into this game. Now, on the other side of the field, which would be shotgun plays, we're going to jump into empty base flex. Empty base flex basically comes with stick, halfback screens, 4 verticals, and a beautiful play to actually have is the middle high low. This is going to be a play that I'll feature on the channel as a promotional video, but we're going to go ahead and swap out stick. We're going to drop that for stick and nod. This is just a better version of it. It has nice little inside reads that you can use against your opponents. It's good to blend that in with the middle high low. We leave in verticals because it gives us a seam beater and also gives us a way to hit our opponent over the top. The other play we'll take a look at is going to be the normal close. We're going to leave pretty much everything the same. A mesh spot is a great quick snap play for man. And then you have inside zone. Y sail's got a phenomenal corner route by the tight end. It really gets past the coverages, and then we're going to build a basically inside whip, and then a dig concept on the backside for man beaters. And then the RPO zone alert Omaha. We're going to leave that in the scheme, but we're going to pull out this inside zone, and we're going to replace it with escape, which has got some pretty good concepts. Not a play I'll go into a lot, but it's something I can throw into the scheme. The Y normal off, I initially was thinking to myself, I'm not going to put this into the scheme, but when I went back to the lab, I found that this is a really good formation to use. Doubles slant inside, we're going to pull that out for this particular play, which essentially is going to be the double dig. This has got some great man beaters and some zone beaters. 4 verticals we're going to swap out for this play, which is the red zone scissors. This is a play that we're going to run stock, and you've seen some variations of red zone scissors in some of the breakdowns I've done before. And then the last formation we're going to take a look at is going to be out of the shotguns. Is going to be the normal Y off weak, and doubles. We're going to swap it out for this play, which is sluggo seam. This is going to give us a quick snapper that we can use for hitting big plays over the top and getting some big plays against our opponent. And then the alert bubble and basically the zone peak, they're kind of conceptually the same thing. So we're going to go and swap out the alert bubble for the zone play, which is going to be the halfback draw. So we want to use that against any kind of zone stuff like that. Last formation we're going to take a look at is pistol. What's cool about this is we're just going to run everything stock. I'm not making any adjustments. If I did, I might go ahead and take the halfback dive and switch it out for the inside zone. But for the most part, we're going to run these formations stock. So let's go ahead and jump into some of the first formations and go from there. Now the base formation we're going to come out of the huddle is going to be the single back formation, single back doubles, and then I'm usually always going to pick the halfback dive. You really can't. There's the only other running plays is going to be the power alert bubble, and then you've got the inside zone, which is one of your audibles. The power alert bubble, it doesn't give me the reads, the easy way to read the coverages, so we're going to go with the halfback dive. Now, another thing I want to point out is that I like to run the double side where the two wide receivers are lined up on the short side of the field or hash work. So we're going to do some hash work right now. And we're going to go ahead and drop the hash down right like so. And this is how I use to read the coverages. So if you take a look at the gray lines, which are the running lines, those actually will help me determine the type of coverage I'm going against my opponent with. So we're going to go ahead and take a look at that. But I do want to show you that if we have a situation where we're on this side of the field, if you're on this side of the field, you probably want to call the play flipped, but if you are on this side of the field and you have your double side on the wide side of the field, just flip the play. So I'm going to run these plays flipped just to kind of give you just a different look. So the design of this particular ebook is to run these plays flipped on the right hash. If you're running the plays on the left side, on the left hash, you just run them stock or unflipped. Now, when it comes to reading coverages, let's just go through like cover 2 man and kind of go from there. When it comes to cover 2 man coverages, you're basically going to look at the alignment of the defensive backs. Cover 2 man coverages always are an press alignment. They always come down to the line of scrimmage and press the wide receivers. But if you take a look at their alignment over the wide receivers, is they're all shaded on the inside of the wide receiver, and you're also going to see the 2 high safeties. So if you see alignment like this with your 3 wide receivers where they're all inside shaded, this means it's a cover 2 man, so you want to go ahead and break out your man beaters to expose your opponent. Now against a cover 2 shell zone, typically what's going to happen is the outside defensive backs are going to be at about 5 yards depth, about 5 yards off the ball. But you're also going to take a look at the slot receiver and the outside receiver and take a look at the alignment. A cover 2 shell where you have 2 high safeties, you're going to have the slot receiver shaded slightly inside of the slot receiver, and the defender over the outside receiver on the right hand side where the double side is going to be shaded outside. So this is where you'd actually jump into your cover 2 beaters to expose the coverage. Now with cover 3, you're always going to get a tell as long as he's not base in line. You're going to get a tell by the defender that's in the middle of the field. That means it's going to be 3 house shell, and you also can have a really good tell is that you got shading on the outside with the defender over the slot receiver. So if he's slightly shaded to the outside, that typically means it's going to be cover 3 shell, and you can anticipate that. Now, a lot of times cover 3 will look similar to a cover 1 shell. So when you are running plays, you want to have your man beaters and your cover 3 beaters in your play design, and that will help you dramatically with making more conversions and getting first downs. Now, typically with cover 4, one of the tells with cover 4 is that you're going to have your defenders are going to be at some pretty backed up depth. But also look at the safeties too. A lot of cover 4s, the safeties will align over the slot receivers, and that's kind of a tell that it could be a cover 4 shell. So if all the defensive backs deep are far back, and then you have a safety that's aligned far back over that slot receiver, that's a tell that's cover 4. So this is another cover 4 shell. Not exactly perfectly aligned, but you do want to understand that with all those defensive backs so far off, that's usually an indicator that it's going to be a cover 4. Plus, you also have an inside, the defenders on the inside, and the outside wide receiver is basically lined up directly over that wide receiver on the far right hand side. One thing I do want to point out, there are a couple formations in the game when it comes to cover 4 that will show 2. If you see the 3-3 cub type look on the field, this has got a shell that will give you a cover 2 look, but it's actually cover 4, so you can get baited. So you do want to pay attention to that and make sure that you have a play when you see the 3-3 cub that is going to be basically a potential cover 4 and cover 2 beater. And basic man coverages, typically whether blitzes or some type of a man blitz, just take a look at the defenders. If all the defenders are perfectly lined up against the wide receivers, that's usually an indication that it's going to be some type of man coverage. So you might have a single high safety, a buzz zone, so you want to pay attention to that. So you can see once again, single high safety, guys are man to line across the board. Going to be man coverage, so make sure, and you check the play art if you're running against your opponent. If he's running strictly man coverages, then you can jump into your man coverage beaters. So how I run this particular scheme is I always use the single back doubles, halfback dive as my primary play. It's going to give me some easy reads on how to determine the coverage, and at least give me a kind of a 50-50 shot on what type of coverage my opponent's going to use. And if he quickly audibles into different plays, I can be able to anticipate those audibles and expose it. So we're going to have the curl flats is one of our plays, inside zone, which is just another running play, which is like the dive. It's not much of a difference. The Z post Y out and the play action boot comeback. I feel very confident about how I run curl flats. The Z post Y out is really about that deep out route with the tight end that's got really good leverage. It gets real good yardage, and I do have a kind of unique way I run this particular play. And then the play action boot comeback, I've played around with this play. I like the post route over the top, but unfortunately it does take a long time to develop. So if you got someone that runs a lot of pressure against you, that does cause some issues. Basically with this particular play, I've got a couple adjustments I make, but I'm not really settled into any particular play. So of the plays out of this formation, curl flats, I'm going to pop my opponent if he's giving me a lot of man reads, and then the Z post Y out is going to be a play I'm going to jump into a lot, and then I'll go into other audibles from there. Now I'm going to run against random coverages and stuff like that, and once again we have basically an inside zone, a basic dive play. You want to sprinkle the dive play in on a regular basis, and you also want to go ahead and if you see that you've got good numbers on the back side, you can do that. You can obviously, with the inside zone, you could flip it a little bit, but you want to try to effectively run the ball against your opponent. There's no really good outside runs in this particular formation. So we're just going to go ahead and just use the inside zones. There is that RPO, Power O play, but I just don't really care for it too much. It's unpredictable for me. Now, when it comes to reading the coverages, once again, we're going to take a look at the coverages. We got press alignment, guys down. We have basically two high basically two high guys right there, and then we got an inside leverage of the slot receiver. So in this type of situation, it could be some type of a cover 2 type shell with some blitzing in the middle, and you want to be conscious of that. Let's take a look at this. Okay, so these guys, we got the one guy shaded on the outside over there, and the other guy shaded on the outside. So this might be a cover 2 shell. Let's take a look at some of the plays I like here. I like curl flats. This is really good against man coverages. And how I like to run it is the following. I just go ahead, I like to do a wheel route right here, and I like to go ahead a deep comeback route with digs. Now the reason I have a deep comeback route instead of just leaving it stock, and the reason behind that is that deep comeback route gets more depth, and it takes more time to develop. And how I read this is from right to left, basically short side of the field to the long side of the field, because the short side I want to make very fast reads and get rid of the ball very quick, and then I go off to the right side. If the guy's blitzing a lot, I might block my running back, but I do like the running back because you've got a flat wheel concept that you can throw on the backside. Now, why I run this particular play is this particular route concept right here. That was not a very good read. I want to anticipate man coverages, but I want to show you how this concept works and why this is a very fast read. What you're going to do is you're going to look for the high-low with the flat, with the flat, and also with the curl concept. Now the best read right here, because this defender is reading the quarterback, is to go to the flat as a fast read. I'd rather check it down and not get picked off than actually throwing into position. But you know, obviously with this game, sometimes you can get some inside positioning, and with a bigger wide receiver like this guy who's 6 foot, you can basically catch that ball. On the back side, we have a flat concept, and we also have the deep comeback route. So we got the flat concept. This is going to pull defenders out, so that's going to be another area that you can go ahead and hit. And you have got the wheel concept going over the top, and you have the deep comeback route on the back side. Really, how I read this play, you know, just to kind of give you a better idea how I read this play, I pretty much read it for this concept right here. I read it for the flat, you know, the flat curl concept off to the right side. If I don't like the reads on this side, I'm going to look to this deep comeback route on the back side. But this is all man beaters. This is what I'm looking for, man coverage. So once again, this looks like cover 3. We're going to go ahead and set this up like so. And this is really good against cover 3 coverages, because what happens is that one defender actually has to play the flat. So typically what he is going to do is he's going to pull himself out of position. So you have to read to see if this guy pulls himself out of position. If he floats and sticks up here, you can throw an interception. So you want to go and check it down. But if you take a look at the assignments on the back side right here, this deep comeback route is really out of. He's got more leverage and more time. And then I've got this flat route off the back side. I already got the ball out, but you can see how he is just about ready to make his move to cut back. So if this doesn't look good to you, you can always go back to the deep side of the field and throw this, and this will give you plenty of time to get your head around to throw this ball. So once again, we're going to take a look at the curl flat concept. And here's your deep comeback route that you can check it. You can go back to if your opponent starts cheating off to the short side of the field. So we're going to set it up once again. Now I don't necessarily run this play too much, but if I see cover 3 shells, cover 1 shells, and it's off coverage, I'll throw this in because if he does choose to send some pressure my way, it's a fairly fast hitter. One other thing too is I want to throw the ball away from the wide receiver, or from the defensive back over the wide receiver. So I do try to do an outside pass lead, but real simple concept and very effective that you can use against your opponent to keep the ball moving. Now the next concept we're going to take a look at is going to be the Z post concept. And basically what I like to do is I really want to try to open up that tight end route. Now the problem with Diggs' post route, which is good against cover 4, is that he's going to be kind of in that area, and he'll have a defender in that area, and I want to try to open that up. I also want to give myself a fast read to determine whether it's man or zone coverages. So what I do is I like to use smoke routes to give myself a fast read. Now, if I anticipate that I need some time to make my reads, I'll block my running back. I'll check basically Diggs' defender to see if he actually comes down and bites at meeting this man coverage. And then I've got a whip route, I've got the deep out route by the tight end, and then I also have another dig route on the backside. So if you can see, he kind of sticks there. I can go back to this route with pretty good confidence that I can pick up 5 yards or more. So this actually seemed like it was a cloud coverage, but you can see how he sticks. Didn't like once I see the defender stick and he doesn't back up, I'm making my next progression. It's going to be my fast read, and this, even though this is cover 2 cloud, I've got this whip route and this dig route that's actually pulling the defender up, so I know the whip route is going to be available underneath. So if the defender bites down, I've got this guy over the top. And then what's cool about this here play is this route right here is a lot of times he'll actually get out and get some pretty good yards because he's 15 yards out. Problem with the cloud coverage is that if this guy could get into a passing lane, so I want to make sure I have this wide receiver right here pulling the defender down, so that he gives me more spacing to be able to get to the outside. So we're going to set it up once again. I'm going to block the running back. I can leave that there. Now here you go. Here's a nice little seam play that you can hit against your opponent. You're going to watch how that opens up for you. Once again, I got this guy down here. I could check it down, but look what happens with this defender. This defender is playing some type of a seam flat. He has to respect the seam flat. And what that does is it opens up this deep out route that I can hit. And by the time the ball's off and the positioning's there, I'm picking up 15 yards. I've seen this route actually pick up a lot more yards just with one like little juke move. And I've also got this whip dig concept on the back side that I can check it back down to. I'm going to set this up. This looks like it's man coverage. And I'm going to, once again, you go back to the whip. This is going to be the other side of the field. What am I looking at when I'm making my decisions right here? This guy kind of like falls down. I could have checked it down right here. I didn't like how this zone drop is going on. Both these guys were dropping up. He was dropping up. So that route was dead to me. So I'm just going to essentially, I'm going to read this really quick just to see what happens with the defender. I'm going to see if this is a lane that opens up for me, which I didn't like how these guys were falling back into the passing lane, and he's in a passing lane. So I'm going to just go back to this backside right here, and I've got the whip dig concept that I can check it down to because these guys are all floating up, and this route's going to be available for me for a first down. So once again, I'm going to set this up. Here you go, man coverage, and you can hit that route. This is what I'm waiting for. These are all random plays. Take a look right here. See how this guy pulls down. I know it's man coverage. Most of the times these wide receivers are going to get leverage on this deep out route, especially with the speed of this tight end. And I'm just going to go and complete it and get an easy 15 yards. I've also got man beaters on the back side right here, even though this guy is in the passing lane. I've got this route guy right here. So if this guy gets outside leverage and I feel like he's going to take it away, I'm just going to go and look to this inside dig routes. That's usually going to be wide open for me. Now, a play I'm not going to use a lot, but this is a play that you can throw into your scheme, is going to be this play action boot comeback. I like to do an out route for a fast man reader with the tight end, and I like to streak up the slot receiver to open up the outside receiver Shakur. And I'm going to block my running back if I can, if I have enough time. Now, my first read is going to be the tight end. My tight end is going to kind of determine whether I can hit the deep comeback route or I'm going to be able to hit the post. Against man coverages, I'm going to try to check that and take that 5-yard gainer. It's always smart to get rid of the ball as quickly as possible with these concepts. You don't want to hold on to the ball. My next read is going to be this deep comeback route that you can hit. Now that ball got out a little bit too early because the defensive back responded, but the wide receiver didn't do that. So let's just go and take a look at instant replays, just show you what I'm looking at when I'm making these reads. I'm looking here, right here to the quick out, and see how these guys are trailing. I probably could have forced that play because this guy kind of came out. But if I just see a defender in the area with a route concept, I just go on to my next progression. I don't sit there and wait for routes to develop, because that's how you get sacked and that's how you throw interceptions if you don't move on to your next progression. So I like this guy sliding out. Even though he's wide open, I'm just going to go to the next read right here. Now, because this guy's stuck on this tight end, he's not out here supporting this deep comeback route, and this guy basically has to play deep third, so I know this deep comeback route is going to be available for a big completion. Now, also on the backside right here, we've got a streak post concept. The streak is going to take these defenders over the top, and this guy's going to cut underneath that post with the coverages over here, so I've got that route that I can come back to as my third progression. So once again, out if I can see that. And this is something I probably wouldn't have thrown right there in that type of situation, but I wanted to show you that because of that route concept right there, this post route will get open over the top of a lot of coverages. So there was a deep third right here, a mid read. I was able to throw above it. That's a risky throw in this type of situation, but because this guy pulls those deep thirds up, because this wide receiver right here was pulling this third up, I can hit that route. Now the smart read in this whole concept right here was to basically look right here, realize this guy was on an island. He has two defenders, or two wide receivers he has to stop, and that deep comeback route would have been opened up available for me. But I can throw this one route over the middle for a big. So what's good about this round concept, it kind of builds off of this Z post type read. And your opponent might be going after that tight end, might anticipate that, and that's going to allow you to hit your opponent on the backside with that deep post, even though it clears everything out. So what I love about this particular formation is it's a nice base formation to use, and it's going to allow us to access some of those other formations that we're going to use in this game. So let's go ahead and jump in the next one.